So this is pretty interesting because wide receiver Terry McLaurin apparently is insanely frustrated with the fact that he hasn't got an extension, and rightfully so. That man has been carrying that organization for quite some time. He's literally been the staple point for 6+ seasons. Pay the guy. Like, he is literally the best player on that team. He's the wide receiver one. You don't want to rock Deebo Samuel going into week one. I promise you. As a Cardinals fan who has watched Deebo Samuel in the division, that's not something you want. So I would assume you would get a contract done with Terry McLaurin. He wants 30+ million. You get that done. It's that simple. But if you don't, and you are going to be so ignorant to the fact that he is a top 5 wide receiver, then trade him, and potentially to the Cardinals. Let's go ahead and talk about that, because this is very interesting. If we can get our hands on Terry McLaurin, who is 29, that is the only problem I have with this. Things could get interesting. This is where the report is stemming from. Jordan Schultz today said, sources, Commanders All-Pro wide receiver Terry McLaurin has made it clear to the team that he's frustrated with the lack of progress on a long-term deal. As I previously reported, McLaurin unexpectedly left voluntary workouts after initially attending, and it remains to be seen whether he'll report for mandatory minicamp or not. Now, that is so interesting because Terry McLaurin is one of those guys who just shows up no matter what. But when you don't pay him and you're in that last year of your deal, you want money. You want the guarantees. You want guaranteed financial stability. That's what he wants going forward. I assume he would be more than comfortable staying in Washington, but they're not paying him and they're not giving him that long-term deal where, like, hey, Washington's going to be my home for the next 3 seasons. I'm completely comfortable here. That's all he wants, and he wants the bag that comes with it. If he had like a 4-3-year deal worth $30 million, guess what? There would be no complaints from his side. But I'm assuming that Washington is either lowballing him or they're like, hey, here's a 2-year deal. We'll pay you till you're 31 years old, and then we'll readdress it. He doesn't want that. He wants 2, 3, 4, 3 to 4, probably somewhere in that range. Not 2. Wants 3 to 4, somewhere in that range. I can almost guarantee it. He just wants that financial stability, along with the fact that I know where I'm going to be living for the next couple years. I think it's pretty simple. He wants to get paid. He also wants... I think it's pretty simple in that fact, but he is 29, so maybe Washington is fighting themselves a little bit. But this guy has been nothing short of consistent, and let's go ahead and pull up the stats because they prove that as well. Terry, with a finally competent quarterback, who was a rookie, by the way, that's the best quarterback he's played with in his entire franchise history in Washington. That is disgusting. Absolutely filthy. But you see the production's always there. In 14 games in his rookie season, guess what? 900 yards, 7 touchdowns. 1,100 in the year following with 4 touchdowns. Over 1,000 in every single season following with 5 touchdowns, 5 touchdowns, 4 touchdowns. Give him a competent quarterback at the age of 28 years old. Guess what he does? 13.4 yards per catch, almost 1,100 yards, 82 receptions, and 13 touchdowns. Has played every single game the last 4 seasons, so health isn't a factor. And Terry McLaurin is nothing short of consistent football all the time. So myself, I'm struggling wondering why they're not paying him. I really don't understand that. Yes, he's going to be turning 30 years old, but for a 3-year contract for the guy who has honestly been your best player for 6 seasons straight, you just got to get something done, and you're building right. You can't go to week 1 with freaking Deebo Samuel as your wide receiver 1. You just can't do it. And if you do, you're bold. You're absolutely bold. I understand you made that trade, but Terry McLaurin is someone who should be locked up for the next 3 years with 30+ million, no doubt. I'm not saying he is Larry Fitzgerald, but like there are some similar traits that they have. They just go out, they ball. They typically don't complain for the football, and his situation has been terrible his whole career. Larry Fitzgerald wanted to be loyal. The Cardinals paid him, and guess what? He stayed loyal. Terry McLaurin, I'm assuming, would love to do the same thing, but guess what? Washington's not paying him, and that's where the trouble comes. So if the Cardinals were to go out and dabble, or the Commanders were actually open to listening to trading Terry McLaurin, which I'm assuming they won't be, but you can't say no because I watched Luka Doncic get traded to the Lakers. So everything is on the board at this point for me, and I'm not throwing anything out of the world of realism. So let's talk about the Cardinals situation and if this is something we should do, because the talent would definitely be amazing to have. But first things first, when addressing Terry McLaurin, we got to talk about salary. And obviously, he wants long-term stability. So that would guarantee be a 3-year contract at the minimum. So you got to take that into account. You got to look at the wide receiver market. Where does Terry McLaurin fall right here? Amon-Ra St. Brown is making 30 mil. A.J. Brown about 32. I would say Terry McLaurin's probably in that $32 to $34 million range. If DK Metcalf is getting paid $32 million, then Terry McLaurin is right on pat with CD Lamb. You got to pay him probably $34 million over these next 3 seasons. And if you're comfortable doing that, then by all means, go ahead and do that. Jamar Chase just broke the bank, making $5 million more than Justin Jefferson. It's tough to look at a receiver knowing you're going to have to pay Marvin Harrison Jr. too. But when Marvin Harrison Jr.'s contract is up, guess what? Terry McLaurin's contract would be up as well, or at that time. He would be on the last year of his deal, and then you could extend Marvin Harrison Jr. and let Terry McLaurin let it ride. Simple. Lose the $34 million, get a veteran wide receiver alongside Marv, and actually get him some help. But I don't know if the Cardinals are doing this just because it doesn't really seem like a Monty Ossenfort move, because we haven't really seen a splash trade. That's not his regime. That's not what he does. He builds through the draft, and it would be crazy to see him do this, but I just can't see it. I would love it, but I can't see it, and I'm struggling with it. The Cardinals have the cap to do it. We really do. We have $32 million this year in effective cap. You could backload it. You could do whatever you want with the contract. You could pay him that $30 million right now. Everybody's signed up. You could bring him in. We are a top 10 team in terms of cap as it stands right now. So we could do this because we sit at 7 with $32 million in effective cap space. But if we take a look at 2026 with all the extensions and everything we've done, we'll only have $18 million in effective cap before cuts and all of that happens. So the Cardinals do have a lot of cap, but going into next year, that is going to drop and we would be in the negatives. So Monty Ossenfort, who has done a great job with dead money, and he has done a fantastic job at just addressing this team and cleaning it up, I don't know if he's willing to do that, because then you would have to go crazy on roster reconstruction. Right now we have $7 million in dead money, and next year we would have 0. So the Cardinals have fixed their situation. We built through the draft. We're going young, and we look good. So if we were to make a splash move like this would be like, hey, we're going for the Super Bowl this year. We're confident in this roster, and I don't know if we're necessarily there, but this would give us the best chance at winning a Super Bowl if it was possible. Because as it stands right here, our receiver core would be Greg Dortch, Michael Wilson, Marvin Harrison Jr. The offense looks pretty good. I like Kyler, like James Conner, obviously. Trey McBride, top 3 tight end in the league. You have a solid offensive line. You're kind of missing that playmaker alongside of Marvin Harrison Jr. So if you saw it in Terry McLaurin, things get a little bit better. Probably a lot of bit better. He'd probably be the best receiver on this team. You'd have Marvin, you'd have Terry McLaurin, who could play inside outside, you'd have Greg Dortch, Michael Wilson, whoever you want to slot in as that third receiver on the field, depending if Terry McLaurin is a slot at that point. You can move Marvin to the slot. I like him on the outside, but like the versatility is there for all of them. It just looks better. But you would have to give up a lot of draft capital, and what are we really willing to give up at the end of the day? I'm not sure. As a fan of myself, I just don't see a world where Terry McLaurin goes for anything less than a first-round draft pick. You really probably can't get away with that because the Cardinals aren't going to part with talent. So it would probably take a first-round draft pick at the minimum. Then you got to pay that contract. So are you willing to do that? Are the Commanders even willing to move off of him? There's things that need to be addressed, and I'm not sure either of those are realistic. But if the phone market does start to blow up and they're like, hey, we're entertaining calls, I would hope you'd at least potentially see what you could do, see what they're asking for, see how that all goes. But I think Washington is going to get an extension done. If they don't, I would hope the Cardinals would be in the mix because this would push us over the top, give us an elite weapon at the receiver position. And this would help tremendously because we struggle at getting separation. Terry McLaurin doesn't really do that. And he can make contested catches. He is just like the perfect receiver for this team. He fits the culture. He fits the system. Like everything about Terry McLaurin fits what this regime is doing. So if he becomes available, yes, I would like to see him in the market, but I struggle with the realism part. But who knows? You guys let me know what you would give up for Terry McLaurin. What would the trade package be? What would be realistic to you guys? Do you think the Cardinals should do this with the salary cap situation? You let me know all the scenarios down below. Do you think Washington will even part with them? And if you're a Commanders fan, what do you think of this whole situation? Are you worried? Do you think something will get done? There's a lot of possibilities. Who knows at the end of the day? But if you guys are new to the channel and ended up enjoying today's video, consider hitting that subscribe button. I post Arizona Cardinals and NFL related content. So if you're a fan of either of those, this is the perfect channel for you. But like I said, man, that is all I got for today's video. Hopefully you guys did enjoy. It's been your boy Mythic. Peace out.